Prague is the capital of the Czech Republic. I was there for 1 week in December of 2021, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that week with you. This city has so much history. You can find buildings and underground remains from medieval times, so it has layers upon layers of history to discover. Additionally, I found it to be an incredibly walk-friendly city, though there are also trams and an underground. Overall, I found it to be a wonderfully enjoyable week, and I look forward to showing that to you.
So here we have the central train station in Prague. Up on the hill we can see the Prague Castle. And over here we have the gorgeous National Museum, which I'm headed to now. Here we have the National Museum. And then the new National Museum right across the way. Rick Steves' guidebook recommends skipping the National Museum. Thankfully, I didn't see this until I had already paid my entrance ticket because I absolutely enjoyed it and would recommend a visit. One of the biggest draws for me was the building. I love beautiful and/or unique architecture. The main building is from 1891, but it has undergone upgrades and renovations, the last of which was from 2011 to 2018. And the museum was closed for this time, so it's only been reopened for a few years. After this reopening, though, they did open up the dome to the public, and that was the first time. It offers great views in the city, including Vilemax Square,
which you can see here. We'll be headed down there after we visit the rest of the museum. The collections of the museum are incredibly extensive, hence why they have 2 buildings to house them. One of the largest collections is for the Natural Museum. I found the curation of this to be exceptional. The amount of information available was overwhelming, but the presentation made it possible to move through in a really reasonable amount of time, and I could linger over the parts that I found more interesting and kind of gloss over the ones that I didn't find as intrinsically interesting. I spent most of the time in the natural history section, but I also visited exhibits on coins, the Olympics, and life inside a manor house. This is just one example of how thorough the information was. This is an exhibit on minerals. You could just see mineral upon mineral house in these cases. Really beautiful and really interesting to look at. Just look at how many examples of opals they have, and that was just one of the minerals that this museum housed. I would highly recommend. So now that we've left the museum, we're going to head down into Vilemax Square.
So because we were here in December, it wasn't very sunny or very warm. It was very cold. But there was a little Christmas market here, so I stopped here to check it out. There were some traditional Czech foods, which was really fun to try because you bought by weight, and so you could pick and choose exactly what you wanted to try. It was all very delicious. And also a chimney. So it's dough wrapped around a wooden skewer and then dipped into sugar. Delicious.
Because we were here for a week, we didn't have to have every minute organized. Sometimes we just went wandering around to see what we could find, and this city just had something to offer around every turn.
As I mentioned, this is a really walk-friendly city. Walking around, you find cute little parts like this where it's just sweet and nice to look at. Here we are at the top of the Astronomical Tower. This is another great place to find 360-degree views of the city. I was super lucky and able to go on a nice and clear day. However, you can only get up here with a guided tour, which costs about $10. Also included on that tour was the Baroque Library Hall. Up until about 2011, tourists were able to get into the library and look around. That's no longer allowed because too much damage was being done. Because I wasn't able to actually walk around, I only have still images and no video. It's probably one of the most beautiful libraries I've ever seen, and I would have loved to walk around for a whole afternoon. I would say this one was a really fun activity for me, but I'm not sure it's worth it for everyone, seeing as you really are shuffled from viewing the library up to the top of the tower with some really cool and interesting information, but at $10 a person, I think it's a little bit steep.
Golden age of the Czech people. Wenceslaus IV was basically a gambler, a womanizer, and an alcoholic.
Probably one of the most famous places to see in Prague is the Charles Bridge. We were here when we took a free walking tour with 100 guides. We really enjoyed it, thought it was really interesting. I think that these free walking tours are a great way to see the city, kind of get an understanding of what your options are and get a little background. And then from there, you can sign up for other things to see, go back, take a look at other stuff.
One of the things you can see from the Charles Bridge is the Prague Castle. We came back the next day at noon for the changing of the guard.
Prague Castle is one of those places where you can see the layer upon layer of history, and one of the main places to see is the cathedral. We opted to take a guided tour with entrance fees included because there was just so much to do and see here, so we thought it'd be really great to have a guide tell us about it. It was just amazing, right? Like, there's so much that I don't get to show you on here. And towards the end, we saw these little tiny homes. This is where some of the servants lived, and it's just incredible how little these homes were. And people lived in those until 1950s. Additionally, we got to see some medieval armor, just so much fun.
Okay, you're too close to me.
You're just trying to be friends.
So this was something that we had not planned on doing. We got done with our castle tour and we were cold and we wanted to do something inside. And we happened to find the Vilemax distillery tour. It is an all automated tour. It takes about 30 minutes and then we had a tasting afterwards. I had so much fun here and would highly recommend it. So of course we have to keep chasing those 360 views. So we went up to the top of the hill, hopped up on the mini Eiffel Tower, and were able to see 360 views. Again, we ended up with another beautiful day. Not warm, but really beautiful. And we were able to see all of those landmarks that we've been visiting throughout the week. It was just a really good way to see a different viewpoint. And of course, we can't forget about the main square, which, because it's December, should have had a Christmas market at it, but thanks to Corona, didn't. Right next to the main town square is the Astronomical Clock, which is a really big tourist destination. It goes off every hour and has a little puppet show. It's not a very big activity, but I think it's really important to see if you're there. So whenever you're near the main square and it's going to switch hours, just pop over and take a look, because it's a really interesting and unique experience.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the puppet show. What did you think?
It's so exciting.
Thanks for joining us for our week in Prague. I had fun sharing it with you, and I look forward to sharing our other travels with you.